The Mastering Local Marketing podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing. Here's your host, Matt Hansen.
And this is the Mastering Local Marketing podcast with Matt Hansen. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this one.
I am. You want to know why? Because this is, Matt represents a lot of small businesses and has shown them how to market themselves digitally and offline. And then I'm on the other side of it. I am taking in ads on a regular basis. And I just sat through a meeting yesterday with a client where they asked the question at the top of this.
Yeah.
Why aren't my ads working? Yeah. I'm not getting any, where's my referrals? What's going on? And that is a question that you get all the time because you're placing ad buys too and stuff, right. But you're also looking at people's businesses. How's it feel when someone says that to you?
Well, usually what it is somebody coming to me and saying the last person I worked with didn't produce. Or that they're doing it themselves and it's not producing. And, the first thing that they say is, Meta advertising doesn't work, or TikTok advertising doesn't work, or billboards don't work, or whatever the media vehicle is. They all say it doesn't work. And what I always say to them is, let's talk about that. And that's what we're going to talk about today is kind of those 7 steps that you have to go through, because it is not that it doesn't work. It does work. The problem is you don't have the right strategy. You did not approach it with a strategy. You just threw something out there in the hopes that it was going to send people through your doors or make your phone ring.
Small to medium businesses, tell other people we're on, we're everywhere that you get all of your podcasts. Now, with the small to medium business, one of the things that we see is a kind of the hit or miss person that will come in with like 1 or 2 months of buying advertising, and expect 100 customers. And for 20 years or more, decades, I would explain, it just takes time to, let's let it unwind, and you'll brand positive with our high school sports and all this stuff. But in the end, now I can explain to them the funnel.
Right.
Your funnel, and I use it. Mm-hmm. And just to remind people, the sales funnel is 3 steps: awareness, and then consideration, and then customer. And you got to go through those steps. You can't just say, hey, you're a customer now, and they don't have any awareness of you, and they haven't even considered you. Even if it's a short time or a very long time, those are the 3 steps. Let's go back to ads. What matters in setting up an ad campaign?
Yeah, I think you have to think through from point A to point B. Right? So what am I trying to get them to do? You mentioned the funnel, awareness, consideration, customer. You're probably not going to set an ad out there and say, hey, buy right now. Right? And that's what most people do. They go out there and they put an ad and they think, oh, well, I need to get new customers and nobody knows who I am. I'm a brand new business and here's an ad and please buy from us. You know nothing about us. You know nothing of what we do, but here's an offer. It's buy one, get one free or whatever it is. And you're not thinking this through from the customer's point of view. So the customer either doesn't know about you, which is you have to generate awareness, which should be your objective, to generate awareness of your business. That is an objective. Consideration is a different objective. So they're aware of you, but now you have to compare yourself to others that are out there, right? If it's a restaurant or a florist or an HVAC or whatever it may be, they're comparing you to other platforms, other companies that are already out there. So when I click on the ad and I come over to a landing page, it should not be your homepage. It should be a page that is comparing why you are different from that other company or why you are different from most companies if you're not going to call out that company.
You guys understand that? That is very key in the funnel, is that if they already know who you are and they're looking for HVAC and there's 7 of them in the area, what sets you apart? Well, you might be the closest. That would be one.
Right.
You might be the longest one in business. You might have a huge rating on Google or on Yelp or something like that. Or you might just have a tag like, we're the ones that actually listen to you or something like that. I have Calumet Painting. The guy gets it, and he does a podcast, and he does advertising with us, and he is a former fireman. And he plays that up because who doesn't trust a fireman, right?
Without a doubt.
You got to use it. You got his niche, and there it is.
Right.
That's why he's doing the podcast. So, you have the, the clear objective, right? Mm-hmm. And you've set that. The objective is either awareness or the consideration.
Right. Let me cut you off. Remember a couple podcasts ago, we were talking about a local pizza place, and we had asked our producer if she knew exactly where this pizza place was. And we're right off of campus, off the university campus, and she didn't know where the pizza place was. That's what I mean by awareness, right? So they had been there for years.
Right around the corner.
I did the exact same thing yesterday in a different city, on a university campus, and asked them a different pizza place. Not a single person out of 80 people knew where this pizza place was. So that's, again, going back to awareness. So this company has been there for a while. It's actually a chain, if you believe me. Has been there for a while, and people still did not know the awareness side of things. So if you're advertising, we've got to get people to know who you are. That's key objective. If they know you, consideration, and then we start to. I can go for days on this.
So what? I mean, let's start. We're talking a 7-step. Let's just run through them as quickly as we can.
Sure.
You're setting that clear objective, and you got to see where you're coming in on the sales funnel. Mm-hmm. A lot of people may already know who you are, and now you're making those connections. But do not, under any circumstances, in my mind, is what I tell people that are buying from me, we can't just go straight to the sale. Right. That's a problem.
I mean, you can, but you have to do a lot of convincing when they get over to that landing page. It's not just going to your homepage and then people are going, what do I do from here? It's you've sent people into a room and they don't even know what they're supposed to do at this point.
All right. How do you know who to target with your ads?
Well, it basically depends on what you're trying to promote, right? So you have different audiences. You mentioned HVAC earlier. An HVAC business owner can be targeting people for heating right now, right? It's not even 40 degrees outside right now. It's cold. That could be repairs. It could be maintenance. It could be landlords. It could be there's a bunch of different ways that you can go out there and identify individuals. Who is that audience that you're going after? If you are, if you're a marketing agency, for example, are you trying to sell websites? Are you trying to sell SEO services? Are you selling logos? These are all different things, right? So if you're selling logos, you're not going after well-established companies necessarily. You're going after new startups. If you're selling websites, odds are you want to identify those individuals that have really bad websites to go after them, right? So if you still have a website from 1997, that's a great candidate, right? If everything is already updated, odds are you're probably not going to get the people that to sign off on it. So identifying the right audience is key, because a great audience, let's say you identify 100 people that need a website that has not changed since 1997, right? Which is now, 28 years ago? And I've seen them. They're still out there. If you have 100 of those and you sit down with 100 of those, how many of those can you convert versus just talking to 100 businesses?
And I get all those emails all the time. Mm-hmm. And they're very detailed. We could do this for you. I see this on your website. So they're going through bad websites, which what we have. We're more of a TV and a radio thing, so we don't really care about our website. And that I shouldn't say on this podcast. But one of the things in these studios, ultra-modern robotic cams, great lighting and stuff like that, we also host some things, and one of those is the International Digital Marketing Competition put on by Matt Hansen, and the date on that this year is early May, right?
No, it's April 26th.
April 26th of 2025. If you're listening after, that wouldn't matter. But if you are interested in that, we'll give details on how to watch it and stuff like that. But you had to reach out to all the digital marketing professors around the world.
Right.
How'd you do that?
I went to LinkedIn, really. That's all I did. I went to LinkedIn and started to identify the professors that were out there that were teaching in this space, because I knew it was very small. There's a ton of marketing professors out there, but there's not a ton of digital marketing professors, right? So there are a lot of people that are trained in marketing, and they start to specialize on the digital side. So I realized it was a very small amount of individuals, and what I learned was, okay, I can start putting ads out there, but instead of advertising that way, I went out and I looked on LinkedIn and I started doing searches, and I identified who these individuals were, and we built a database. I found emails. There are Facebook groups out there for digital marketing professors. I started partnering up, and joining these groups. There are publishers out there that we pulled in to start working with us when we initially launched, because we knew they had access to these people. So all said and done, we launched an international competition that at this point we had 189 entries this semester and 31% of them were from overseas.
By the way, you look like you're in a way better mood, because he came in last week after watching the last of those videos, and I'm like, dude, you look a little tired and you're a little bit grumpy. Oh gosh, I just finished watching all the videos.
I have to check them all in before they go to the judges. So it was 25 and a half hours of content. So it was a lot of content, but we did all of this, and we launched all of this on a budget of $0. It was just time spent, right? So could I put money into it? Yes, but I identified the audience and said it would be much easier for me to take this path than for me to just go waste thousands of dollars trying to target them and take the easy way out. Businesses so often just try to throw money at problems instead of just thinking it through and going, okay, let me think through the whole process here. What would be the easiest way for me to find these customers? And like I said, I went to LinkedIn. I probably spent 3 days kind of going through and pulling who I thought would be a good candidate. We joined a few groups on Facebook, sent out some emails, some invites, had a lot of phone calls, and today, like I said, we've grown every single semester.
It's an amazing thing, and it's actually kind of hard to coordinate. He's got so many people all over the world that Zoom in and so forth. But we're proud to host it here, and that's how it got going. Mm-hmm. So that is number 2. You got to identify your audience. The third part of this, and we're going through a 7-step process for the small to medium business mostly. The third part is you really got to think about this one, because you need a strong message.
Oh, without a doubt. So most of the time people will just put an ad out there and they're like, oh, look, it's our pretty logo and it's a pretty picture of our facility and all this other stuff. And customers aren't scrolling or surfing online or looking through a magazine or whatever to see pretty pictures of your business. They're struggling with pain points that they have on a daily basis. And it's funny, the people around me, I start to notice they're using the words pain points over and over and over again. And really what it comes down to is we buy things because we have a need, want, or demand, which is based on dollars that we're now making. So these needs and wants stem from things in everyday life, right? And I brought up one of my favorite ads of all time. It was for a florist, and it had a picture of one flower in a vase, then another vase had, I think it was 6 flowers, and then another vase had, we'll call it 24 flowers. And underneath it, it said, exactly how mad is she? And it's a pain point, right? So you buy flowers for a reason, to share your affection, your love for somebody, or just to, grieving or whatever it may be. But when you see something like that, it makes you notice and you're like, oh, they get it, right? Another example, I got a haircut the other day, and after you get a haircut, you feel a little bit better, right? So I don't know what it is, your hair's kind of going all over the place and they clean it up. But But, I wrote down confidence boost in 45 minutes. I know it doesn't take 45 minutes to cut my hair at this age, right? Maybe more like 2 minutes. But you're talking about a confidence boost, not a haircut, not a coloring, not anything like that. You go to a hair salon to get a haircut, to get coloring, to whatever it may be. But focus on the end result, the feelings or the solution that you are solving for, and it's gonna resonate a lot better. So you're not spending money on pretty pictures of your salon. You're literally talking to people about what they're going to get out of it. Another one I threw on here, because I'm dealing with a fitness company right now. I wrote, "You quit too easily. Let us hold you accountable." And so I think we came out of the new year and everyone's always like, "Oh, I'm going to lose weight this year." And I always joke that I actually gain weight after the first of the year, but I call it stress or whatever. But everyone starts and they go full 2 weeks. They go all in. They're starving themselves. They're on the treadmill for 3 hours a day, and they're like, "I'm going to do it this year," and then they quit, right? And that's the problem. So if you want anything on the fitness side, it's, hey, we're going to work with you. We're going to hold you accountable. We're here. We're going to be that voice in your head when you wake up saying, "Hey, come on in. I know it's going to be rough today, but I'm here to help support."
So you do that. You put an ad together. By the way, if you're driving around and you're listening to this on the radio, it's being recorded on April 9th of 2025 live. I think it's the first time we've done it live. Typically, we're on a different day, so it opened up on this day. We're talking with Matt Hansen. He's the digital marketing professor, clinical professor over here at Purdue. And, of course, I'm Jim Deedlow, Jed, and I sell ads to everybody. So you've got a strong message. Do you really need an offer or some sort of offer associated with that?
I see this all the time. People will send me, they'll say, "All right, hey, we want to start advertising on this platform. Here's our offer." And I go, "That's what we're doing?" And they question me back, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, would that get you excited? Would that get you to click?" And I want to take it back to an old story that I have. There was a company that I worked with, and they sold training guides for ASE certification. So an auto technician, auto mechanic, they can actually get, it's almost like a master's degree in certain types, whether it's brakes or, all these different things. They sold these books. And one of the things, they used to just put them out and they'd say, "Hey, we have the most books in the industry for all the tests." And that was great, but I started asking the questions, and they were growing roughly about 1% every single year. I started asking the questions. I said, "Well, how many people actually pass these exams?" And they said, "Well, we can't tell you that. It's kind of a trade secret," and all this other stuff. And long story short, I ended up finding out how much it was, because they could then share it with the competitors. So I don't think I can share the percentage, but it wasn't a good percentage. Let's just put it that way. It was over 50%, but we're going to say it wasn't really good. So then I started asking, with the study guides that you have, how many of your customers are passing? So we did a survey to the last 2 years, and it came back at 98%. So I said, all right, let's change everything here. Let's create a new website. We created, and back then it was passthease.com. And we have a 98% pass rate. We have the most books in the industry. And then I threw one more nugget on there, because I know money back guarantees are always a good thing to put in there, and very few people ever take advantage of them. So we said, all right, here's the deal. You either pass the ASE exam that you've studied for using our books, or we'll give you a refund on your book. So we threw that campaign out there, right? And we put significant dollars into it on a digital spend. When it came back, how many do you think we had to reimburse?
Well, if 2% are not passing it, I would say half of those, 1% of the people.
Okay. So 1% of what we sold is what you say we had to refund. We didn't get a single one.
Oh, really?
But we went up 38% in 1 year. So we typically went up 1% every year. We changed the messaging. We said you either pass or you don't pay. We were that confident in our product, and we went up 38% in 1 year.
That's why you cannot hire Matt Hansen right now. And because he's got that kind of success rate. Nothing better than getting a text at like 10 o'clock at night about how much his spend on Facebook is versus what the return is. And he gets the results. And that's what makes this podcast real, is we have somebody that is both academic and practical in this space. But really comes down to is if you're dedicated to growing your business. And not everyone's going to go from 1 to 38, but you can go from 1 to 10 just by putting a lot of this in here. Yeah. And one of those things is that after people click, we already kind of covered this, so go through it real quick.
Yeah, so you have an offer on your ad, and somebody clicks over, and you sent them to your homepage, which doesn't say anything about the offer, right? It's like saying, hey, come on into this club. We have some major artist in here, and you walk in and it's an impersonator of that artist. It's not exactly what you thought it was, or I don't know where the artist is. I don't see them anywhere. I'm going to click out of there. It's called a bounce rate, right? So people are going to bounce off the page. Or I see this a lot where people will send them to a form. Okay, well, why am I filling this form out? I want more information on this. The form is fine as long as the information is there, but many times I see people trying to send them to a form without any more information on what the offer entails. So they don't even know if they're in the right location. So you have to keep the consistency. I click on the ad, I come over to a landing page. What is that landing page? It's got to correlate with what the ad says so people know they're in the right spot. And then they will start to submit information or buy or whatever you're looking to do.
And so somebody does look and put some interest out, but they don't buy. Mm-hmm. And how do you retarget them? Or somebody has bought and they haven't done it in a while. It's basically a basic term in the industry, retargeting. What does that mean and how do you do it?
Sure. So if people are giving some information or they're coming over, right, you can retarget them across the internet. So, for example, we were buying a refrigerator this week, and I had thrown it into the cart of 2 different big box stores. Obviously, I have an account there. One of them didn't contact me, and it's been in the cart for a couple days. The other one sent me an email and said, hey, by the way, we still have it in your cart. Click here to complete the purchase, right? Or you see this a lot with Amazon. Right? You'll throw something in the cart or you'll look at something on Amazon, and the next thing you know, you're seeing it all over the place. An Amazon ad with the product is following you across the internet. We can do that, right? So look up retargeting. I don't want to get into the details of it today, but retargeting allows you, as they've provided some information, we can then retarget them as they continue to go if they didn't purchase from us the first time around.
Here's a good example right here. These are Thursday boots I bought 12 years ago. I've had them resold several times here locally, but they're one of the few boots that you buy out of New York, and then you just keep resoling them instead of buying new shoes. And I buy a new pair every 2 years, and when I go look on their website, and I'm looking, well, what color do I need, or that, everywhere I go on the internet has Thursday boots, everywhere. Yeah. And I don't mind because I like them. And then literally I find it that it pushes me. I'm like, man, I really do want the black ones for funerals and stuff like that. Right. And they're good at it. Hey, type in Thursday boots and then watch wherever you go on the internet. They'll show up.
Right.
Finally, you're talking about tracking some of these results and so forth. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand numbers all the way through here, right? So we have to understand cost per lead. We have to understand click-through rates, return on ad spend. So if you're putting money out there, and this is what I hear people say all the time, I spent $500 and I didn't get anything back. And then I go, okay, one, your strategy, what is it? What's the flow? What are all of these things? But on the back end of it, I go, how are you tracking? Well, I just know I spent $500. Well, that's not good enough, right? You need to understand how many people clicked on your ad, how many people came over to your website, what was the bounce rate on that landing page, did anybody convert, right? So I'm dealing with one problem right now where there were roughly around 4,000 people that came over to a landing page and none of them are converting. That's a bad thing, right? So what it's come down to is we've identified a few issues that are happening that we're trying to fix on it, but there's some limitations on it, right?
So you're really good at getting them there.
The ad is producing great. It's the landing page that's wrong. And we need to fix the landing page. And it's got some things to do with some of the tracking mechanisms that aren't on the page we're trying to get on there. But the ad is producing, driving traffic over. But here's the thing. Part of that could be it's producing the wrong type of traffic, right? So maybe our audience is wrong off of that. So we're doing a deep dive into that campaign to really understand it. But if you don't track these things, if you don't know what your return on ad spend, if you're spending $5 to make $1, send those $5 to me. I will gladly send you $1 in return. That's an easy way for me to retire.
Why your ads aren't working, do this instead. This is episode 26 of Mastering Local Marketing. He's Matt Hansen, clinical professor and digital marketing at Purdue Northwest. And I am Jed of Jed TV and the radio here, WJOB Radio. Matt, as always, goes through numbers and likes to put things in groups, and they're usually 1, 3, 5, or 7, just so you know. And one, set a clear objective for what you want your ad campaign to do, define the audience, get a strong message, have a compelling offer or some sort of reward for doing that. After the click, where do they go? What's kind of landing page kind of stuff? Retargeting, Amazon, you got one thing in the cart. That's a good example. And then, of course, you got to track what you're getting off of your ad spend. That's ROAS. And you've always got to do that, but we won't go too deep into that. Anything you want to add?
No, just check us out on Apple and Spotify. I think, obviously we're gaining traction. You can see us on YouTube as well if you want to watch it live. Well, not live, I should say in video form.
Yeah, well, okay. That's there you go. So check us out at all of those places. And Matt, until next time, and to you too, until next time, we'll see you later.
The Mastering Local Marketing podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing.